Mate, this window, man, I'm just like, I just don't even know what to think anymore. Welcome, Blue Believers, to another episode of the Stamford Sync, where we are syncing up with everything Chelsea FC. And it just keeps on going, man. The transfer train is rolling on. We have currently sold 7 players, loaned out like 3 or 4 more. We've brought in like 5 or 6, but it just looks like we're not stopping. We are really squeezing every single move we can get out of this window. The main of the news over the last few days has been pretty much entirely directed at the double Dutch, which includes the 2 players, Zavi Simmons and Jarell Hato. Jarell Hato seems to be the more advanced, and he has just asked to not have to be on the Ajax preseason anymore, so it looks like we'll probably see that one soon, because you can only imagine that means he's trying to push that move through. And Zavi Simmons has supposedly agreed terms for his contract. That'll be 1 million years amortised over 3 million years, and we all know how it goes now. But yeah, I think it is not unreasonable to expect Zavi Simmons to be the next attacking target to join the team. And I was pretty sure that'd be it, right? I was thinking, okay, so that's, going to be probably the last attacking target. We're going to be fairly stacked in most areas. Zavi Simmons will be able to deputise in that left wing role and play in the centre of attack, maybe even feature in that dual 10 kind of thing that we all want to see. And then we'll have lots of players for every position, maybe apart from left wing, where we would only have the one typical Maresca byline winger in Jamie Gittins. But yeah, it just looked to be the end of it, didn't it? So the piece of news that I've seen today is resurfacing the idea that we might still hold an interest in Morgan Rogers, even if the Zavi Simmons deals go through. Don't get me wrong, man, we all love the dopamine of a transfer, don't we? But is that a bit too much? Morgan Rogers looks like such a quality player, man, and I would absolutely love to see him on the team, but I don't know if at this point it's going to be at the detriment of the team flow, right? People are going to start giving each other little side looks and being like, well, when are we actually going to get to play? So the Morgan Rogers transfer news is interesting because I mentioned it a little while ago that supposedly Chelsea were interested in offering up to like 4 or 5 players in a trade kind of deal involving Morgan Rogers. Now, this new article narrows that right down to 2 players in particular. One of them is Nicolas Jackson, who, that's kind of the worst kept secret in football, isn't it? That Nicolas Jackson is probably looking to be sold. And the other is Tosin Adarabioyo. So as far as Tosin goes, I kind of get it. We got him on a free. He's been a dutiful professional for us. Absolutely. He's nowhere near that top level centre back that we need, and doesn't really look like he's going to develop into a Saliba or a Van Dijk or something. Do you know what I mean? And the fact that we got him on a free means we can probably expect to value him at somewhere around 20 to 25 million pounds. So as a make weight for Morgan Rogers, yeah, okay, that sounds cool. The Jackson stuff is interesting as well because, man, it was just mental, wasn't it? I knew it was never going to happen, but all of the talk for a while was that we were valuing Jackson at 100 million, and that just seemed ridiculous, didn't it? The numbers I've seen a little bit more recently are starting to make much more sense in saying that potentially we're going to value Jackson in and around 60 million pounds, and that is much more believable. So if that is the case, and Tosin and Jackson are looking at being sort of offered combined in order to help get the Morgan Rogers deal over the line, who supposedly they still value in and around 100 million, by the way. But that'd be like 85 mil for 2 players that no one is really... I say there are actually a lot of people who think that we should just keep hold of Jackson, and having 3 strikers in Jackson, Pedro and Delap would actually serve us really well. But I think he's just worth a bit too much money, and I think he's probably likely to complain about lack of game time after being our only striker for the last 2 years and getting all this expectancy of all of this game time. Then to just rip that away from him, I think could cause some disharmony in the ranks. I don't really think that Rogers will go for 100 mil either. 80, okay, it's a lot, but it just feels a bit more reasonable. I don't think Morgan Rogers is worth 100 mil yet. Like the last English player to go for 100 mil was Declan Rice. Arguably, yeah, okay, you could say he's probably fits that a bit more, and you wouldn't say that Morgan Rogers is as good as Declan Rice at the moment, would you? So 80 mil based on how he's been performing and his potential seems to make a lot more sense. So forgetting all of that for a second, forgetting, how reasonable the deal might be if we throw these 2 guys in, is there space for Morgan Rogers in the team? Don't know, man, don't know. So what I've done is I've taken a little look at the players that we've got on our team at the moment, and considering we probably will sell Jackson, and juxtaposing that against the news that came out a little while ago saying that Maresca really wanted 8 or 9 attackers for rotational purposes for the upcoming season. So this is on the assumption that we get Zavi Simmons and Morgan Rogers comes in as well. I'm going to take a little look at how stacked each attacking position is in our normal formation. So we'll start with strikers, right? As far as strikers go, if we get rid of Jackson and bring in Morgan Rogers, the strikers we will have on our books ready to play next season are João Pedro, Liam Delap and Marc Gui. And to me, I'm not going to lie, totally happy with that. I think Pedro is going to come in and be an upgrade on Jackson. You know, that really versatile kind of role that he can drop deep and substitute with people, link play together, bring people like Cole Palmer into better attacking positions, and score a couple of beauties himself, by the way. I know he didn't have the most amazing open play goal return last season, but I'm just looking at how he's played with our team in the Club World Cup and being like, yeah, man, Jackson never looked that comfortable ever. Liam Delap looks like a wicked backup option slash another stylistic option, right? Because Liam Delap might be really helpful in certain types of games, and ultimately he'll push João Pedro for that spot all the time, which will keep both of them pushing each other to get better, and we want that too. And Mark Gui, absolute bargain, 5 mil. I think if he plays a similar kind of role for this upcoming season as he did last season and tries not to get injured, I mean, I know it wouldn't be his fault, but, you know, if he can stay fit for the season, then I think we'll end up getting 20, 25 mil at the end of that season for him as well, which will be excellent profit. But for right now, I think it would be better to keep Mark Gui in that role rather than bring Nicolas Jackson into it and risk upsetting either Jackson or Delap by being demoted to that third striker spot. So strikers, okay, cool, sweet. Centre attacking midfielders. Now, this is where things get a little bit complicated. I've assigned every player one position, so people can have other positions, right? But I think, you know, just to try and keep this simple, we'll just assign everyone one position. If we do bring in Morgan Rogers, who favours that attacking midfield spot, that would give us the options of Cole Palmer, Simmons, and occasionally Enzo Fernandez, right? Because we've seen him depth in that position before. Bearing in mind, we've got lots of other good deep midfielders as well. Lavia, Asugo's just come in and looks like he can do a job. Andre Santos. Stands to reason that we might see a bit more of Enzo Fernandez in that advanced role. So, okay, there's 3 really good players for your number 10 option and potentially to play that dual 10 option together. And on the left, we would have Jamie Gittins, Tyreek George, and potentially an incoming Zavi Simmons. I know that Simmons is considered to be more of an attacking midfielder than a left winger, but he can play that role and has played that role quite a lot for Red Bull Leipzig over the last few years, right? So I think, and as well, if we brought in Morgan Rogers, I think that you'd kind of have no choice other than to play Zavi Simmons more often on that left side than bringing him into the middle, because I think he's probably a better option out there than Morgan Rogers would be, despite him also featuring on that left side for Aston Villa. And then on the right side, you've got Neto and Esteval Willian. So that would be then 9 players for all of our attacking spots. And that isn't actually including Enzo Fernandez in that 10 role either. So including Enzo Fernandez that I've kind of put into that 10 role, that actually makes 10 players in all of our attacking positions next season for essentially 4 spots. And I guess you could argue it's 5 spots if someone like a Fernandez starts deep and finds his way in that attacking midfield spot, but I don't know, man, it's just starting to feel a bit nuts, isn't it? So versatility is obviously a huge thing, right? Like Cole Palmer can play out on the right, Zavi Simmons can play in the middle, Rogers can play on the left, Pedro can play on the left as well. So it definitely will give us like some epic, mental, crazy melting pot of attacking players that we can just kind of put anywhere. But it is just starting to feel like a little bit much, isn't it? The main issue I completely start to see there is unless we go strong with the dual 10 idea, the attacking midfield spot's definitely going to be the issue, isn't it? Because if we just continue to play like a single attacking midfielder and you've got Morgan Rogers, Zavi Simmons and Cole Palmer for that one spot, someone is not going to be happy. The article I read actually had Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall down as an attacking option as well, but no, man, I just don't even count that if I'm honest. So it just feels a bit nuts, doesn't it? It just feels a little bit nuts. Obviously, Maresca knows what he wants and what he'll do with all these players much better than I do. And I guess you could argue that like sometimes when City have won the league, they haven't just always had one starting 11. They've had like a big group of players that are able to just come in and deputise for each other in different positions, and that's worked really well for them. So maybe this is the way, but our squad harmony is such an important thing, man, and it's a real tough one because I really, really like Morgan Rogers. Do you know what I mean? I think he's a wicked player, and I'm desperate to see him assist Cole Palmer for a goal and to get that double cold celebration, just waiting for that iconic moment. Maybe we'll see it in the England team one day, but if we got to see it in the Chelsea team, that would be awesome. And I guess the other thing to consider, right, about that is if we do buy in Zavi Simmons and Morgan Rogers, that almost definitely says that Tyreek George is going to get sent out on loan somewhere, which would be a shame because I think especially he was like the turning point of our season when he scored that goal against Fulham at the back end of last season. He's just gone on and done his job professionally and quietly. Do you know what I mean? Yes, he's a young player, but he's not complaining about lack of game time. He's doing what he's told. He's playing as a striker when he's being told to because we didn't trust anyone else to. So it'd be a shame, but that's the only kind of way for me to mitigate that. And then what that says is Zavi Simmons is almost definitely going to be more of a left wing player. I've just had an interesting chat with my friend Quentin from the YouTube channel Red and Blue, which is his PSG channel, which is all in English. And obviously Zavi Simmons used to be a PSG player, didn't he? And he said attitude was actually potentially an issue before. So Simmons was like loaned out and then came back and was like, I want game time. I want to play this position. And it was, and they were a bit like, all right, mate, you're like 19, so we're just going to ship you off. And obviously they've loaned him out to Rebel Leipzig, and now, as of 6 months ago, they've sold him there. So there is a distinct possibility that we might be potentially looking at some attitude problems with Zavi Simmons, but also supposedly he's always been really interested in playing in the Premier League. Oh, I don't know. There's just so much to think about, man. There's just so much to think about. The crux of it is, are we going to overload ourselves with attacking players, or is the idea to put attacking players in there, make people fight for their spots, and then just sell people, even if they've only been with us for a year? I mean, I know it's not exactly the same, but we've seen it with Renato Vega. He was with us for 6 months and is getting sold already. So it's not crazy to think that maybe a Zavi Simmons comes in and the idea is to make him and Morgan Rogers prove who's the better player for the squad, and then whoever wins that battle, you sell the other one, because they're both still really young, they'll both be full of potential, and you'll almost definitely be able to recoup your investment, if not make a profit on them. You know, there's other interesting stuff as well, as far as going back to the structure of the deal from Aston Villa's side. One thing I have seen a bit of recently is linked with Nicolas Jackson supposedly drawing interest from Newcastle. And that makes sense, doesn't it? Obviously, with the massive piece of Isaac news that's just come out. By the way, I did a whole video about what I think about the Isaac situation, so if you're interested, go and check it out. But yeah, with the Isaac situation happening as well, Newcastle gonna need a striker. And as far as I can see, the only real reliable options left on the market are Ben Sesko and potentially Nicolas Jackson. And that's where I saw the 60 million fee, right? So I don't know, man. You know, what do we do? Do we put him in the Morgan Rogers deal, or do we sell him to Newcastle so we can make that money and then reinvest it on Morgan Rogers? Is the Morgan Rogers thing even likely to happen? Like, let me know what you think in the comments, guys. I'd love to know what you think. I think it's starting to get all a little bit much now, if I'm honest. And this is where it gets complicated, because if I had the choice between Morgan Rogers and Zavi Simmons, I'd probably go for Morgan Rogers. I just think Premier League experience is so important, man. And another thing of that, because he's one of those Man City Academy graduates, he's entering a culture of familiarity already. That's really important. And I'm not too concerned about it, but obviously the attitude stuff that I've heard from a mate of mine who's obviously had him on his team before, that's, you know, maybe a little bit of something to worry about as well. But if Zavi Simmons does come in, then I don't think we should go for Morgan Rogers, because I think we're just kind of fitting everyone into that team is going to be, well, a little bit tough, I think, a little bit tough. But what do I know? I'm just a YouTuber. I don't know anything. I just see all these things as they come and comment on it. But what I would really like to know is what you guys think. Do you think Morgan Rogers is just, if we have the opportunity to go for him, we absolutely should because of how good a player he is? Are you leaning towards what I'm leaning towards? Whereas if we get Simmons, then I don't think we actually should buy any more attacking players. Does this look like it just spells the end of Jackson as well? Do you know what I mean? Is it just game over for Jackson now? It's a difficult one. I think the striker position is looking pretty good right now, and personally, as much as I would appreciate the value of keeping someone like Jackson around because of what he can do when you bring him on, I just think putting him as like the third choice or relegating Liam Delap to the third choice is just going to cause problems. So I think the best thing to do is to sell Jackson. And I will keep my ear to the ground as ever to see how this story develops. It just feels like we've been on the brink of all of this domino effect thing happening for so long now, isn't it? And it's just starting to get stressful. But nice one, guys. Anyway, thanks for sticking around until the end of the video. I will keep my ear to the ground as ever for more Chelsea news and do my best to be one of the first to bring it to you. I hope you guys are having a wicked day, and I can't wait to catch up with you very soon. Take it easy. Peace.